Raise your hand if you are lazy and not diligent about cleaning your AR-15. But here I go, count me in. But for something so dependent on a bunch of precision machine parts, our AR-15s sure can handle some abuse, even if it's mostly from our own neglect. So if you want a faster way to a shorter lifespan of your AR's mission-critical parts, then don't clean it, don't maintain it. But if the opposite sounds a lot better, let's talk AR-15 maintenance. Hey guys, Randy here with AT3 Tech. Back at it again, episode number 17, helping you sparkle up your AR, keep it working on the JOB for decades. It's cleaning, maintenance, but what does proper maintenance look like? How often? What tools? How deep of cleaning and maintenance? Let's go. All right, proper AR-15 maintenance, what is it? I'd have to lean, again, on our military. For standard bearers, it was drilled into our heads, check, and then clean, and then check again, and then clean again. There was maintenance before you use it, while you're using it, during and after you're using it. Daily checks, weekly checks, monthly, quarterly, you get it. Lots of cleaning, checking, and maintaining gear, but that's exactly why the arsenal lasts forever. Let's kick it right off with AR-15 cleaning and maintenance tools. Guys, there are a ton of cleaning supplies and tools floating around the internet, some useful, some nearly useless, and others might be a little bit over-designed for their job. That said, there's a few tools at the AT3 crew here are fond of, but the short answer, no. You don't need every specialized tool out there, only the ones that make your job easier. First things first, must have for any firearms owner. Lubricant oil, an old rag or t-shirt, but I would avoid towels or rags that snag easily on sharp parts. Which brand or type of lubricant you need, and pause. Can we please just call it CLP for the rest of this video for my own sanity? Thanks. Don't get hung up here. If it's intended for lubricating firearms, it will work fine, and even the popular brands, they're actually pretty low cost. Like a 4-ounce bottle of something like this G96 CLP might last you a whole year because you really don't need a whole heck of a lot. As for cleaning solvents, the same can apply here also. If it's marketed for firearms, it'll be fine to use. But again, little bottle or spray can last a while, especially if you keep up with regular maintenance in between those big cleaning jobs where you might use solvent. Table mats, man, they sure come in handy for keeping things clean, but more so for keeping those tiny bits and parts from going surfing into your carpet, wink. Q-tips, lots of them. Dedicate an entire pack to your cleaning supplies. You'll want a tool for barrel cleaning also, and here's where these old school metal rods, they're dead to me. It's all about bore snake for me here on out, but I still need something to aggressively attack the chamber. Problem is, now we're starting to wade into that full cleaning kit territory. So let's make this easy. Specific AR-15 cleaning kits, they're everywhere. Generic multi-caliber kits are everywhere, but in general, if your cleaning kit covers heavy and light tools for your barrel, for your chamber, and your BCG, because a bore brush is killer on carbon, it will do everything you need. Sure, you might need to replace a part or two here and there, but I will say after using a specialized tool, this Real Avid Chamber Boss with the star-shaped pads, winning combo with my bore snake. Couple other tools real quick that help make life easier: brushes, both plastic, copper, or bronze. Some kits include them, or individual brush sets like the Otis set or the Real Avid set. Not really spendy at all. I like to have a couple handled picks or dental picks handy for very light corner work, as well as a can of air or a compressor for a quick way to get extra oil or solvent or dirt out of the cracks. All right, now that we have the AR maintenance dinner table set, let's talk about the actual main course here. What parts should you clean and when? Well, let's take a page or two out of the old Army maintenance manuals and think about it like this. If you're looking for best practice AR-15 maintenance, we would be actively checking, cleaning, and maintaining all the gear before use, during use, after use, then month, and then quarter, and then year. It's just way more overkill than it needs to be for civilian shooters. But we can scale it back a bit to something more achievable to those who are not eating, sleeping, breathing military. Let's hit checks and maintenance tasks from 3 angles: pre-range, post-range, and annual biannual tasks, depending on your shooting habits, and you can scale up and down as necessary. Really, do you think there's pre-range AR-15 maintenance when you put it away clean? Maybe not all of us, but hopefully we will get better at that after today. But if it's your AR's first run in a while or ever, at a minimum, you need to slap on a light coat of CLP on the metal-on-metal parts. In that case, it's just easier to pop open the upper and the lower, pull out the BCG and charging handle, lather on some lubrication with a light dab of oil and a cloth. Don't oil the charging handles here, you'll smack your face. From what we learned in episode 9 of this series, your buffer spring and buffer should already have grease on it from the manufacturer or from when you built it. The inside of your upper gets a light coat of oil also, mostly in that charging handle well, around, not in, the gas tube and all over the sides. Oh, and those of you with an off-the-shelf AR-15, don't be surprised if you come across brown, sticky-ish substance when you first open it. It's a rust preventative, typically called cosmoline, and you can get it off with a little heat rag, maybe it's some light CLP, maybe a little bit of solvent that I mentioned earlier too. Let's talk post-range cleaning and maintenance after you've blasted a small fortune of 5.56 down the range. This is not only some of the quickest and easiest maintenance that we can do, it's also the one that's most neglected. And believe you me, I'm guilty myself. Not only that, but quick cleanup after the range pays dividends in time saved, deep cleaning later. Not to mention that it will extend the life of your rifle because your rifle is not fighting through old gunk. Okay, so now the question is, how do we make post-range AR-15 cleaning easier so that we're actually more inclined to do it? A great place to start for a lot of us could be right there on the range before you leave. I should note though, check with your local range before just cleaning anywhere. Some might not allow it, some might have certain limits. Point is, if you are capable of disassembling a few parts before you head home or work it into a routine before your AR-15 goes back into the safe, here's a couple tools that I found helpful to gather up and have at the ready. First thing, don't be scared to, quote, field strip or disassemble a few small parts outside of the safety of your home. It's perfectly fine. And if your mind slips one day and you drop a firing pin retaining pin, it's $1.50. If your firing pin, it's like $10. Plus places like AT3 Tactical can get it to you pretty quick. Okay, that out of the way, have something to keep your parts consolidated, like a little mat, the inside of your rifle case, or extra range rag. Your bore snake and chamber brushes need to come along, and beyond that, the bulk of the BCG cleaning work can be done with some good CLP, a rough textured rag, some trusty Q-tips, and those little plastic and metal brushes we talked about. Now onto that field strip, if you will. I think we can skip the step-by-step here after the BCG episode, number 7 in this series, but basically crack open your upper lower, out with the BCG charging handle, strip your BCG down to these 5 parts. Now, everything gets a good scrub with CLP. Firing pin and cam pin are pretty easy. The bulk of the carbon should come up free with CLP and a rag. If not, scrapers, brushes will get the job done with more CLP. As for the bolt, get the bolt face in the cams with light oil on Q-tips until the brass and carbon are clear, and a once final over with a clean dry one. Lastly, on the bolt, the outside of the tail will see the most buildup, so a little more elbow grease there, and you can squeeze a dry Q-tip into the bolt tail. If not, rip off a little cotton until it fits. Shouldn't be dirty anyway. Onto the carrier, another major carbon buildup offender. This one might drive you a little mad getting deep in around that firing pin chamber, but here's a good time to use a little more CLP, some elbow grease, well-placed brush, same deep in the bolt side of the carrier the same way. I like to quick dry Q-tip the little gas ports, the firing pin hole. Don't forget about the gas key, smooth sides of the cam pin, and little forward assist slots. We've got this thing almost licked. All right, charging handle is pretty easy to clean as well. So is the inside of the upper with some CLP, paying particular attention to charging handle channel, cam pin cutouts, outer edge of the barrel chamber, and all around that dirty, nasty gas tube. Okay, I know that barrel chamber looks pretty rowdy, but again, with the right amount of CLP, a chamber bore brush, it will help lift and remove the brass and grime out of there. And I have to tell you, these star pads, real avid ones, is like cheating. Big fan here. Wrap it all up with a couple bore snake runs, a complete wipe down, and you've probably knocked hours off of long-term maintenance that we'll talk about next. Not to mention, all that takes like 5-ish minutes to do. All right, on to long-term maintenance. What does it take to keep your AR-15 in the fight until your grandkids get it? Actually, not a whole heck of a lot. Few cleaning anniversaries a year, a couple preventative replacement parts depending on your shooting prowess, and you'll already be steps ahead in this department. I like to look at it in 3 phases: cleaning, tightening, lubricating. For cleaning, we're talking about the works, a full-out deep clean once, if not twice a year. But the good thing is that we kept up all year after shooting, right? And the heavy lifting is already done, right? Here's what that looks like for me. I'm pulling the buffer weight, the spring, I'm splitting the receivers, taking all the sweet accessories and optics off, even the handguard, and going ham. With the handguard off, I can clean in and around the barrel, inspect the gas system, apply light CLP for any surface rust, getting out the air compressor to clean out the trigger parts of the lower, inside the upper, the whole 9, like detailing your truck. You could also bring out the solvent here and hit any of those lingering carbon buildups on the BCG components, but I would personally soak solvent on a Q-tip and then rest it on that spot, then brush it out. But now we're on to phase 2 of tightening. If your handguard is like the AT-3 Spear M-Lock that I took off our bronze bomber, you will need a light bit of blue Loctite on the set screws. Big ones get set to 30 foot-pounds, little ones are Allen wrench tight. The lubricating phase is next, and you guessed it, everything that needed CLP before needs a fresh light coat. If you have some grease or aeroshell, you can dab some on the buffer spring and then send it home. A light Q-tip of CLP to your safety selector, pivot pins, then wipe up all the excess and put it back together. If you're interested in the AR-15's big brother, the AR-10, there's a whole build series playlist right over here, 5 episodes deep. We'll see you there.